Addiction and Mental Health recently announced the first ever natural supplement to prevent postpartum blues or depression. This advancement in research and treatment comes at a time when up to 8 out of 10 mothers experience postpartum blues, which can raise the risk of postpartum depression. And with today being World Maternal Mental Health Day, we have the founder of My Conscious Mind and Center for Social Work Education, Janani Jayantakumar, live in the studio with us to discuss postpartum depression and this exciting new natural supplement from CAMH. But first off, Janani, I want to talk about, what you would describe as the concept of good maternal mental health. I mean, there's so many, I guess, ideas out there about what it is, when it comes on, and what you should do about it. But what is your idea of maternal mental health?
Maternal mental health for me is really seeing mom thrive, right? Are we taking care of mama? I think so much goes into really looking at the baby and the well-being of the baby, but we really also need to take a look at mom. So how is mom doing? Is she sleeping? Is she eating? Is she crying a lot? And that's where we tend to see common symptoms. Again, 80% of moms do experience postpartum blues in the first, 2 weeks. And when we want to become more concerned is, are these symptoms lasting for longer periods of time? Are they increasing in severity? And, that's when we want to maybe have some red flags up and begin to look at some professional help.
And Janani, like you, you're like me, I should say, you're a mother of 3 boys. You've got a 7-year-old and 2 twin boys, which is a lot. But maybe you can share some of your own personal experience with postpartum blues and depression.
Yeah, absolutely. So with my eldest, I struggled. I remember that time being really dark, really isolating. I had trouble sleeping. I was really concerned about the well-being of my son. So I was up at night, scrolling through the internet, looking up symptoms, trying to diagnose him. Whereas, with my twins, I often tell people it was easier for me going from 1 to 3 than it was going from 0 to 1. And that's because I had struggled with postpartum anxiety and depression. And I think, we also don't talk enough about postpartum OCD or postpartum psychosis. I think we've done a really good job beginning to talk about anxiety and depression in that period, but we still need to get awareness around the OCD and psychosis components.
Yeah, and it's kind of a fine line, right, to measure. I mean, you talk about that time period of if those blues are turning into a longer period of time, but how do you know when that line gets crossed, that you are experiencing depression, postpartum depression? Because as we've seen, that can have detrimental, sometimes catastrophic, life-changing consequences.
Absolutely, and I think that's where we need our support systems around, right? Because when you're in the thick of it as a mom of 3, I'm sure you know too, it's really hard to even recognize what it is that we're experiencing, right? So the people around us, I think, have a really critical part to play in recognizing, is mom sleeping? Is mom taking care of herself? Is she different? Is she even doing the things that she used to do, right? I think as moms, it's so easy for us to take responsibility and hold on to guilt as well for the experiences that we have, and we forget to take care of ourselves. We forget that we are more than a mom. We're friends, we're colleagues, we have other parts of our identity, which I think are really important to also be aware of.
Yeah, for sure. The martyrdom is real. Janani, let's right now talk about some of the scientific advancements that have come out that can treat postpartum blues and or depression. I know I alluded to the CAMH supplement that they've kind of tested and come out with.
Yes, absolutely. So I think the advances that are happening right now are phenomenal. And it's really, really important for us to also recognize that this supplement that's come out of CAMH is natural, right? So I work with a lot of moms postpartum, and they're often hesitant to take any sort of medication to supplement things like therapy, physical activity, socialization. And the fact that this is natural, and the research is showing us that 66% of women in that 2-week period of the postpartum blues are actually not going on to develop postpartum depression, or if they are experiencing symptoms, they're very slight. So I think we're going to open up a lot more doors for women to feel comfortable taking this supplement, which I think is going to have a significant impact on maternal mental health.
Yeah, and just on a side note, it's available in the U.S., but Health Canada is currently looking at this.
Yes, and it should be readily available when it does come out. So that's really really exciting.
It certainly sounds promising. Jayanthi Kumar, thank you so much for coming in to talk about World Maternal Mental Health Day. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And yeah, good luck with everything. Take care.
Thank you so much.